Have you ever sat through a meeting where everyone nodded, smiled, and agreed to something obviously objectively terrible? Like launching a scented candle that smells like burnt toast and regret? Or switching your company logo to Comic Sans? And you sit there wondering, is this a prank? Am I the only one seeing the red flags tap dancing across the table? Spoiler, you're not crazy. You've just witnessed the majestic, terrifying beast known as groupthink, where critical thinking goes to die in polite agreement. Picture this: a room full of stickmen in business ties, all bobbing their heads like dashboard toys. One lone stickman at the end, eyes wide, mid-sentence, duct taped to a chair for negativity. That's groupthink in a nutshell. It's when a group values harmony and consensus more than the basic human right to say, wait, this is dumb. It's peer pressure with PowerPoint. It usually starts innocently. Someone throws out a meh idea, like what if we pivot to selling dehydrated soup cubes to people without kitchens? And instead of getting the confused silence that idea deserves, someone goes, yeah, I like it. Someone else chimes in with brilliant because they think you think it's brilliant. And suddenly the room is a chorus of agreement, building momentum like a snowball made of bad decisions. Why? Because saying no in a group feels like walking into a family dinner and flipping the turkey. Nobody wants to be the one to kill the vibe. So we go along with the dumb plan, not because we believe in it, but because conflict is awkward and rejection feels like middle school trauma all over again. And just like that, consensus is born, not from insight, but from everyone silently begging not to be the buzzkill. And then there's the unspoken dress code of meetings. The more people agree, the less anyone wants to be that guy. You know, the one who says, this idea might be, catastrophic. That guy gets labeled as difficult, negative, or my personal favorite, not a team player. As if logic is somehow uncooperative. Oh, and let's not forget leadership. If the boss raises one eyebrow and says, I think this idea has legs, suddenly everyone's legs are running marathons to agree. It's like a corporate version of Simon Says, except when Simon says, jump, everyone launches off the cliff of bad decisions with enthusiastic jazz hands. You'd think intelligence would save us. It doesn't. In fact, smart people might be even worse because they're better at rationalizing. Well, if we think hard enough, maybe selling soup cubes in the desert is genius. They convince themselves the idea is great just so they don't have to admit they agreed out of fear, laziness, or caffeine withdrawal. And here's the kicker. Once the group has collectively agreed on the nonsense, everyone becomes emotionally invested. Like, we're in this now. Anyone who questions the idea later is a traitor. The bad idea becomes sacred, like a company mascot no one likes, but everyone pretends to. So now, our brave team of stickmen is marching confidently toward disaster. They've approved the Soup Cubes for the Kitchenless campaign. There's a slogan. There's a launch date. There's even a budget. Because nothing says commitment like lighting money on fire with a confident smile. And everyone involved is too far in to admit what they already know deep down. This is dumb, and we all know it's dumb. But now we're professionally obligated to pretend it's brilliant. Groupthink doesn't just happen in boardrooms. It thrives anywhere people sit in circles and nod for too long. Governments, school committees, your cousin's band that agreed to call itself Moist Destiny. At its heart, groupthink is a survival instinct. Our ancient tribal brain wants to stay in the group, not be the lone stickman exiled for saying, hey, what if we don't? But the price of belonging can sometimes be your ability to think straight. And sure, sticking with the group makes sense when you're running from saber-toothed tigers. But when you're approving a marketing campaign involving inflatable cheese hats, maybe, just maybe, it's time to question the herd. What's even more ironic? The group usually thinks it's being smart. There's brainstorming. There's synergy. There are graphs. But without dissent, none of it matters. It's like a feedback loop of false confidence, where the only person who spots the iceberg is told to circle back with that concern offline. Let's talk about the poor rebel stickman in the room, the one who dares to raise a hand and ask, are we sure this isn't a terrible idea? This hero is often met with polite silence, or subtle eye rolls, or a post-meeting email titled, let's align on team energy. And if that doesn't work, duct tape. Eventually, reality shows up. The soup cubes flop, sales tank. The group sheepishly reassembles for a post-mortem, which is corporate for let's all pretend this wasn't preventable. And what do they say? Well, we all agreed. As if consensus is a free pass for bad judgment. But here's the question. Did everyone agree? Or did no one want to disagree? There's a huge difference between alignment and silence. Just because no one objects doesn't mean everyone's on board. Sometimes the smartest people in the room are the quietest. Not because they're shy, but because they've been trained to keep their heads down and wait for the storm to pass. So how do we break the spell of groupthink? Start by rewarding dissent. Seriously, buy your team's designated devil's advocate a snack. Make it safe to say, I don't think this makes sense. Encourage awkward questions. Make disagreeing less scary than silently nodding your way into the void. Leaders, if you speak first, you've already ruined the meeting. When the boss has an opinion before everyone else, it's not a discussion, it's karaoke, where the only acceptable answer is great song choice. And to everyone else, if you ever find yourself in a room full of nodding heads and your gut whispers, this is madness, listen to it. Be the brave stickman. Rip off the duct tape. Raise your voice. Because history isn't written by the people who nodded. It's written by the ones who asked, wait, why are we doing this? So the next time you're stuck in a meeting and everyone seems a little too agreeable, pause and ask yourself, are we making a decision? Or just trying to get out of here before the coffee runs out? And if the answer is, we'll revisit that after Q3, congratulations, you've just been Groupthink.